This nun is at the bus stop when a woman sits down next to her. The two greet each other politely and so look back to different sides. So right after that, the woman takes her suitcase and leaves. While a man nearby is watching everything and finds that woman very strange, but goes back to his job. At the bus stop, the nun starts looking for her suitcase. Seeing the man in the distance, she accuses him of having stolen it. He quickly denies the charge, and the woman begs him to return her briefcase, as she needs the money in it. She alleges that the money is used to pay the mortgage on the children's orphanage. While the man, in silence, keeps pointing in a direction, trying to say something, but the nun doesn't notice, so the man starts running, and she goes after him, wanting her bag back. She yells at the man to stop running and come back, but he keeps running, and the woman also keeps following him. Even though the man is not blamed for the suitcase, he continues to be accused. That's why he's running, because he doesn't want problems for something he never did. But there came a moment when the woman got exhausted from running. She could not stand it any longer because of her fatigue. So she stops and begs God to help her get her money back, asking the Lord for a light. She can't believe this has happened. She needs the money, or the kids will be homeless. Meanwhile, the real thief is emptying the suitcase and discarding it right away, because what matters to her is what was inside. There was a box inside the suitcase, where there was a lot of money, and that makes the woman very happy. While elsewhere, the man keeps rushing and hiding from the nun, which is why he ends up behind a tree. He can see in the distance the woman who stole the suitcase. She makes a call to someone, letting them know that the plan worked, stating that it was much easier than she thought. She's kind of superstitious and she really thought that everything would go wrong, because she was afraid of taking something from a nun, but everything went well. She says that the person can rest assured, because she has all the money. Confident that everything will work out, and they will be able to demolish everything. That way they can build a mall in place of the orphanage, as they were planning. After explaining everything, she says she is waiting for the person, in the same place they agreed. The man who sees everything runs away from there, before being caught, because he has a plan to unmask the real thief. Running as fast as possible, he goes where his things are and puts on a jacket that was thrown on the floor. He tries to groom himself to look as presentable as possible, wanting to put his plan into action. The man finds a box discarded on the ground and quickly picks it up. Then very slowly, he approaches where the thief was, changing the boxes slowly so that she doesn't notice it. He takes the box and leaves, as discreetly as possible. And the woman, noticing him too close, hides the box, so he doesn't touch it, without even noticing that he has already changed the boxes. After that, the man sits down on the sidewalk after escaping from the thief, and finally opens the box, being surprised by the amount of money inside. Meanwhile, the nun is worried about the stolen money, wondering how she will justify it, asking God for help. She meets with a woman on the street, who was already waiting for her there. The nun apologizes for the delay, claiming that she did not make it. While in the distance, the man is watching the two. The woman alleges that without the money, it is not possible to pass on the documents for the orphanage, otherwise it will be demolished. The nun asks for one more chance, explaining she had the money, but it ended up being stolen. However, the woman claims that she has already postponed it too long. She is given enough deadlines, and every time the nun keeps making excuses. She can no longer postpone payment. If the nun does not have the money, she will take the documents away again. The girl also alleges that the nun already knew that it was the last day, but the nun keeps begging for another deadline, saying she can explain herself. But the woman has already given enough time, and if they don't have the money, she will demolish the orphanage where the children live. So all of them will end up on the street, and in place of the orphanage, a mall will be built. The nun still begs, asking for the woman's help, as she cannot leave the children on the street. And the man takes advantage of the moment of distraction to put the money behind the nun, giving her everything back. So the woman ends up seeing the box there, claiming to the nun that that is the miracle she wanted, pointing out that the money box suddenly appeared next to the nun. She is happy to finally have found it, opening it immediately and finding all the money inside. She thanks God for being so good, knowing that he would never leave her helpless. So she hands the money to the woman, who finds it very strange. But in the end she says it's good that she was able to pay, giving her all the documents from the orphanage. And the nun is very happy that everything has worked out, because that way her children won't be left on the street. And the woman just walks away, with the money in her hands. She quickly takes out her cell phone, calling the thief worthless, because she had given her a simple mission, and even so she screwed up. She explains that the nun ended up finding the money. She doesn't know how that happened. Then she says she's going to meet the thief to talk. Later, the homeless man is looking for food in the garbage when the nun recognizes him, knowing that he was the one who put the suitcase in its place. The man doesn't say anything, but the nun is sure it's him. She apologizes for suspecting he was the one who stole her money. She also thanks him, because it is because of him that the children will have a place to live. The nun is very happy to have obtained the documentation from the orphanage, and no one will be able to move them away. She wants to know how she can help the beggar, because she is very ashamed of the way she acted with him, blaming him for something he didn't do. The man says he doesn't need any of that it's not because he lives on the street that he's going to steal and have a bad character. He's a good-natured man, and it's a shame he ended up living on the street. The nun then suggests that he can live with her at the orphanage along with the children, that there will be a space reserved for it. That way he can help her with the children, with the garden, and she won't charge him anything to live there. So he can help her, and asks what he thinks, claiming that it is a good opportunity for him not to live on the street. The man immediately accepts it, because he can't stand being hungry and cold anymore, and living on the street is very difficult. And he asks if she's sure that it won't be a problem, that will not cause any trouble in the congregation, and she confirms that it will be peaceful, that she is sure that God will be happy if he accepts. So the man agrees, and the two of them leave together.